Hello, everybody. Charlene Burke with Grow Because You Know. That's www.growbecauseyouknow.com. Welcome to Morning Mindset Cafe, where we're talking about Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich. More specifically, we're talking about parts of Chapter 2. We're going to be talking about harnessing the power of desire, talking about what is it meant to be desire? What does that really mean? And how important is it really? Now, I invite anybody to join me in the discussion. Come on into that open seat. And in the meantime, we have people calling in from everywhere. We have Italy represented, the UK, Ireland represented, which of course means that we have to get Dolores on here to hear her beautiful accent. And then after her, we have to get the UK to balance that accent. Colorado Springs. I'm coming to you from near Louisville, Kentucky. Actually, southern Indiana. If I told you the town, you'd look it up and couldn't find it on the map. That's why I say I'm near Louisville, Kentucky. All right. Desire. If you truly desire a thing so keenly that your desire is an obsession, you will have no difficulty convincing yourself that you will acquire it. Desire to me, and based on what I'm reading out of this book, is more than just wanting something. The desire is a different level. It's a little deeper than just wanting. And what am I going after? Is it a thing that I'm going after? Is it a feeling? Is it a situation? Is it a place? What is it that I truly desire? How badly do I want it? You know, it's funny, I shoot pool on Sunday nights, and I'm part of a league, and I'm a pretty decent player. And the fun thing for me is that it's fun. I'm a highly competitive person, and it has taught me, well, not even taught me, I use shooting pool as a way to relax. And sometimes my captain will come to me and say, Charlene, we really need to pour it on. You need to win it. And I can do that. And that's because I want it bad enough, because I love to win. I love to win. But it's also very, very intense, and there's a lot of focus involved. And the primary reason that I shoot pool is to socialize, to relax, to have fun, learn a little bit more about the game. You know, but my focus actually as a team member, and my captain knows this, really isn't as the one who comes in and wins every game. My stats aren't as important as that 5 to 6 hours I'm spending with a group of people that are a lot of fun. Having said that, what will happen is we'll tell each other as we're shooting pool in a match, get frustrated because you missed a shot, or it was this close, right? Or you're on the 8 ball and it just kaput. Or a 9 ball, trying to do a combo shot and it's just not going. What happens? One of us on the team will simply say, you just didn't want it bad enough, did you? Guess you just didn't want it badly enough. And that is a way to describe that level of desire. How intensely focused am I? How badly do I want it? What am I willing to do in order to get it? What am I willing to give up in order to get it? So I say that because when my captain comes to me and says, Charlene, we really need you to pour it on. You need to win this one. I can do that because at the moment I am willing to give up the socializing. I'm willing to give up the laughter. I'm willing to give up the banter. And I am willing to put my energy into each shot that comes forward. It's just me and the pool table. It's not me and the opponent. I'm not shooting against anybody else. I am shooting my best. That desire can be brought on in that instance. Another way I can put it to use is, where do I want my business to be? What am I willing to do? What am I willing to give up? What am I willing to add to my daily life to make sure that my business becomes what I have my goal set on it to become? Is that a revenue goal? Sure. Is it programs that I'm launching? Absolutely. products that I'm creating? Yes. And each individual one of those has its own desire attached to it, which for me becomes that strength and focus that I tap into. So throw it out to you for discussion. Anybody want to join me? Come on in, say hey. Let's talk about, have you had that experience, and do you think you can take it into the next project you're going into? That experience that you really wanted something so badly that you didn't have any problem convincing yourself you could acquire it. You knew it was going to happen. Oh yeah, it was going to happen. I'm going to be the, if I were playing basketball, I'd be the best free throw shooter there is. Which of course means that I'd be shooting 3 free throws throughout a couple of hours each morning, right? I'm giving up my free time in the morning. Might be giving up some of my breakfast time with family. I'm going to be shooting and practicing free throws in the evening, which means I might be giving up playtime with friends. What does that mean to you? So this is what it means to me. You're going to throw a wrench in the conversation? Well, of course you are, Christy. No, that doesn't throw a wrench. So what, see, I don't think so. Somebody else telling you that you just didn't want it bad enough, you weren't fully committed, is different than you telling yourself. Because there comes a point when reality says that this piece of what I'm doing isn't working to get me where I want to be. That's where flexibility comes in. How's that? Did that work? Hi, Paul. Welcome. Well, I like that too. Because your entire focus wasn't strictly that business, I'm assuming. I have to know a little bit, but let's assume that because I have other businesses that I've started with partners. I have my primary business, Search by Burke, started in 08. I have the secondary business, Grow Because You Know. That's actually under Search by Burke. That was started in November 2014. And in between, I've seen opportunities that appeared to align with the goals of my primary business. I went into partnership with a few other people, and those fell apart. I learned a lot. I continue to move forward. Search by Burke is still up and running. Grow Because You Know is up and running. Those other partnerships, I had hoped they'd be long-term because they aligned with my end goal of where I wanted to be and what I wanted my life to look like and what I wanted the business to look like. But they're not here right now. Therefore, they did their piece. It's done. And I'm still moving forward towards what I have envisioned for my business and myself. Yes, Matt, focus includes knowing when to say no. Oh, absolutely. Let's go back to the shooting pool analogy, just in case there are fellow pool shooters in here. The object, every time I come to the table, is not to make a ball every time. How's that one? The object, every time I go to the table, is not to sink the ball in the pocket. Pool is a game of strategy. So the object is for me to look at the lay of the balls. How many shots can I make after the first one? How can I line up my next shot? Oh, I can't. I can't. And if I make this first shot and the ball ends up where I want it to, I'm okay because now I'm in a defensive mode. So my opponent can't make a shot. But there's times when I have to look and say, no, I'm not going to make that shot. Instead, I am going to throw off a little bit so that the cue ball ends up in a position that really annoys my opponent. They can't make a shot. So yes, focus includes knowing when to say no. I say no to making that shot. There's more to it than just that. Opportunity comes in front of me a lot. I've been asked to participate in a lot of different programs, a couple of different product creations, and I've said no. As much as I'd love them, as much as I'd love to be a part of them, I've had to say no. Because they don't align with where I'm focused and where I'm going. Because I have more invested emotionally in getting to the end goal for myself and my business than what you can offer with the new opportunity. It's another way to put it. So come on in, share your thoughts. Christian, any minute now you're going to come in. I know you are. Halima, good to see you here. Welcome. There you are. Good morning, Christian. How are you?
Good morning. This blab thing.
Uh-oh. You moved, my dear.
Okay.
There you go. Yeah, the blab thing isn't working for you?
Well, they reversed the
I know.
the direction.
I'm now looking at it at a different. I know. Yeah. I'm
you
trying to
move one way, you go the other way, and it's like, what's happening? No, I think this is good morning. I think this is a great topic and where it's going. We were talking about this last night about collaboration and how do you decide who's right for, if you really want to work with people who come into your world. And I was saying that you want to. It's better if you have, like we talked about the other day, a clear desire already. If you already have what your aim is, it's easier to make the decision of whether or not this person or this opportunity lines up with it. So if you're not
like
really
this, where it says all achievement must begin with an intense burning desire for something definite. Is that where you're going with that?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. And even so, one guy, he was like, yeah, it's hard for me to figure out if I should work with people. Well, you should already know the kind of people that you want to work with in prior to that. Actually write down and say, hey, I want to work with someone who is this, list the qualities, list the skills that you may want them to have, especially if you're designing a business or organization. I need someone who's good with financing. I need someone who's good, who wants to sit in meetings. This guy didn't want to sit in meetings. I need someone who's going to go to meetings and listen, to corporate speech and all this other stuff. And they need to be positive, goal oriented. You list those kind of qualities that you want in your circle, and you'll begin to attract those people. When people come, you can say, hey, this guy may be the person, or they may not. And so I think that helps a lot, especially when you're thinking about opportunities and what you're going to say yes to or not. If you already have clarified what you're trying to do and also what kind of people you want to work with before, because if not, people will start to try to convince you to fit into their box. It's kind of like the employment field. When you go for a job, they already have your job description and what you're supposed to do filled out, and you kind of have to fit into that, and so it goes both ways. Either you are clear or the other person is going to be clear, and you're going to have to adapt to their vision.
And we don't want to do that. Not if we have a vision, not if we have an intense desire for something definite, right?
If it fits with what you're trying to do. In other words, if your goal, it's because everyone's not an entrepreneur, right? So if your goal is just to make it, like you don't have any other how you're going to do attached to, or maybe you do have a little bit of how. Say your goal is to make $60,000, and you want to do it, in a job, and I would still say, okay, what kind of job do you want? What kind of boss do you want? What kind of people do you want to work with?
Plan. Absolutely. You have to lay out the plan of what that looks like.
What kind of schedule do you want to work? Because if you don't, you're just going to go out there in your subconscious mind and is just going to be looking for a job that is $60,000. And then you find one and the boss sucks, your coworkers suck, you hate the work, and you're like, well, we gave you what you wanted. This is your job making $60,000. And you're like, but I'm depressed and I hate my life, so be clear,
Mhm.
even when you're thinking about working for somebody else.
Absolutely. And that's the whole point of this exercise, is to recognize that it is more than a want. Yes, Dolores, I'm glad you agree. And you're right. Desire comes from a better place than a want. It's more intense, right? It's weight to it, weight behind it, where the yearning to want something. There's definite weight or truth, I guess, behind the desire, and it's an emotional attachment to the outcome, that this is what I'm going after. When the laying of plans happens, just like you said, Christian, is we can be pretty detailed, although we need to be flexible in the plan, as Christy pointed out, that there was a partnership in a business that didn't work out, but that wasn't her end all be all. The business itself wasn't the end all be all. It was a stepping stone towards her ultimate desire. It included, I'm not going to speak for you, Christy, sorry. For myself, when I was in partnership with somebody else, that piece of the business aligned with my ultimate business. But even if I didn't have the ultimate business, what I was doing in that partnership was working towards my desire, what I wanted. In one instance, I'm a trainer, and I wanted to be able to train people in person how to do things. Bring your laptop in a group setting, spend a couple hours with me and the other trainer, and by gosh, you're going to walk out having already done something and feel like you're capable of moving forward with whatever skill you learned with me. And I did that. So even though the partnership and that business dissolved, I still was doing what I wanted to do. And it became a part of the ultimate business that I have, and it aligned. So it kept as a stepping stone, kept me improving in my training skills, kept me active, doing what I wanted to do.
Yeah, it's all part of the journey, So you were getting what you want, and I feel like once it started to get out of alignment with who you are and what your true expression, then it just kind of dissolved. But you still were able to move forward in your desire and in your ultimate aim.
Right, and I want to add in that earlier you had said, Christian, about envisioning the kind of person you wanted to work with. And on the surface, initially, everything was running smoothly because it appeared that we were a good fit. But it really didn't take too long, about a year or so, before it was like, things aren't quite meshing as well as they had been. And it wasn't that either one of us had a veneer on. It was just, you're not aligning with you're not really who I want to be working with on this. This isn't, and the same going on her side for me. And it wasn't anything about pointing fingers or saying you're bad or good or anything like that. It was just like you had described. If I want a boss, this is the kind of boss I want, and I'm willing to compromise a little bit. But then we're getting to, well, that's not how I like to work. It's not how I like to work. The type of scheduling we had, the type of meetings we had, the type of forecasting we were doing and planning sessions, it just wasn't, I have to compromise a little too much,
Right.
So again, it was a stepping stone, and it was the success of that business wasn't what this is it. The success of the business wasn't what my desire was on. My desire was on revenue and on my doing what I like to do, which is to physically train. So that's the other one.
And that's how I was able to leave my last job, even though it was very lucrative, but I knew that I can still do what I love to do. And that's how I got the job. I was doing what I love to do, and the job wasn't constraining. In other words, I can do it here or not. It's not really whether I do it here or not, that makes a difference, is that I'm able to do it, and I'm actually now branching out into doing it in the much bigger sphere, And I think that, it's like that's life. You go through your stages and you go through your growth. Some things are meant for a reason and a season, as they say. You're meant to. This is what you want, and this is your time to learn and grow, and then advance to the next level. And sometimes people are not meant to grow with you, or are not meant to be on the journey long term. But yeah, I really love the idea that you were talking about earlier about really wanting it. And I think someone said about the ability to say no, because that's what really jumped into my head when you first started talking, is that, I love these conversations. I love getting on Blab and interacting with people. It's fun, right?
Right.
But I also know for my business plan to work and for everything to go and for me to achieve what I know I can do, I got to do other things. I got to write. I got to do research, and once I get into it, it's fun, but it's hard sometimes to convince myself, hey, you really got to go and do this stuff. But that's where that burning desire comes in. It's like, you can just make it a hobby and just, run around on Blab and, have nice conversations. But if you really want to build this business, there's stuff that you have to do. And that's where that's why I think having that, focusing on that desire, when I get up in the morning, I think, okay, what am I going to do and why am I going to do it? Like, why am I was like, oh, you got to write a couple podcasts. You got to write a couple blogs. Okay. That means I'm going to have to really turn on my thinking brain and, like my college brain, I call it, but I tap into, my creativity, and, take what I research and synthesize it into a voice that is me and that is a clearer way, for my language of expressing it and may connect with people. Right. And so that's a process that's, but somehow I convince myself that it's kind of hard to do, even though I know it's not. But sorry. Thanks, Dolores, for joining us.
Yes. Thank you, Dolores. It was good to see you here.
But anyway, the point I'm making is I'm perceiving it as work. But if I really want what I desire, if I really want and I know I can do it, then I just got to say no to the, okay, lounging around or just hanging out. Let's go and do what we have to do.
Yes. Desire can make the commitment easier. It can. I wanted to point this one out because you said it yourself while we were talking about interruptions. I went in one direction and the business didn't work, and yet it didn't stop me. And one of the things that I've learned how to do since being a business owner is learn how to fail. That's something I had never learned how to do. I was never taught how to fail. I come from a family of, oh, well, you didn't do well at that. Try something new. Honestly, work a little harder until you've proven to yourself that really this isn't.
Or what did you learn?
Yes, that was another one. No, we didn't talk about it. We never. That was never our approach. That's just related to trying something and it not working. The family I grew up in was all about learning.
Mm-hmm.
It was all about mental gymnastics. It was conversation that spurred debate, proper debate. You don't enter the argument without evidence to support your portion of the argument, your side. Learning those skills of diplomacy, tact, presenting information, in which simply, for those who aren't familiar, what that means is that I say it one way and you're not agreeing, I'm going to say it another way. And then I'll say it another way and I'll figure out your language, right? That's part of that. So that's the kind of learning that happened in our household. And it was always, if you want to know something, we knew to go look it up. We would look it up and then we would take it to the adult or to each other as kids and say, this is what I think it says. What do you think? That sort of thing. But going out and trying something new and not doing very well at it was simply, well, okay, try something else. Now,
and I just had a thought. It's kind of like the difference between academic education and what I call like universal or life education,
Yes.
right? Because life
Yes.
teaches you through experience and trial and error and failing and that,
learning how to
okay.
experiment.
Hmm.
That's one thing that one of my, I'm going to call her a mentor for lack of a better word, name's Nancy. And she is just this little ball of fire. I'm telling you, everybody loves Nancy. She's, I don't think she's even 5 foot. As she gets older, she's shrinking, bless her heart. She has, her background's chemistry. And she's a little powerhouse. She grew up in a small business owner's home. Yeah, he owned a private airport. Wow. So she worked from beginning of day to end of day, helping with the airport and learning how to run the business. She's a sharpshooter with pistols. Don't mess with Nancy. She's a pilot. She maintains her pilot license. She's owned multiple businesses. Her primary business in 20 years, she recently retired from as a consultant, organizational development. And what she taught me above all else, everything else she's taught me, what she has taught me is experimentation. Mm-hmm. And that's where I learned about how to fail, which brings up this quote from the book. Every adversity brings with it the seed of an equivalent advantage. Mm-hmm. So the obstacles are opportunities to think creatively to get around them. Mm-hmm. The failure, it didn't work, is the opportunity to see exactly what you said. What did I learn from it, and how should I approach it now? Mm-hmm. Because I really want this to work. I really want this to work. And what I'm doing right now isn't happening. So I can look at it for me from a marketing standpoint. A lot of times marketing really is an experiment. Mm-hmm. That's why you make changes. That's why you do testing. That's why you change your headlines, you change your ad copy, you change the approach, all to fit the ultimate goals and strategies in place.
It's feedback, because I notice in my life, okay, I'm doing something, it's working. I think this is going to bring me to another level, so I do that. Okay, that's working. I think this is going to bring me to a level, I do it. Mm-hmm. Oh, it's crash and burn. Okay, so that shows me that, hey, what I was doing was right, but that path was not the right one. Or maybe, what did I learn in that experience? Why did I crash? What happened there? Was it something in me? Was it I'm not working with the right people? What is the advantage, right? And right. So I know from my own experience, I learned so much when you're able to, first of all, forgive yourself and forgive the other people involved for any slights or any wrongs that you think that you or they did, and really start to look like I was talking to someone the other day, read your life like a book. What is the moral of this story? If you were looking at it objectively, do some reflection, and say, okay, this happened. What did that person learn? Outside of yourself, like, oh, that, like, you're a character, okay, what did Charlene learn, or what did Christian learn in that experience? And then what are you going to take from that? And so most jobs or businesses, you learn so much, like you were talking about. You got to experience, you got to learn how you don't want to work, and that clarifies how you do want to work and the kind of people you do want to work with.
It is, and it's all still motivated by that desire towards that end goal you're going for. Mm-hmm. It's being willing to adjust along the way, right? Don't give up just because the first portion didn't work. You're still ultimately going for with that what you're desiring, whether it's revenue. So, Think and Grow Rich. Are you talking about money? Are you talking about finishing a project? Are you talking about the launch of a new program? Whatever comes in front of you as an individual and then as a team is reviewed, looked at, and says, all right, that's not quite where we want it to be. Where do we want it to be? Mm-hmm. So we stay on track because we need to come up here, right?
Most
That's
definitely.
What we're shooting for. Okay.
Excuse me.
Thank you. Welcome, everybody. Rolando, Cindy. Big hugs to my friend Cindy. Good to see you, my dear. Ron, I'm glad you made it. It's good to see you again. It's been a while. Anybody want to join me in Christian? And just simply talking about desire, how to harness that intense desire to If you, or the reality that, you know what, if I really desire it, I can convince myself it's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because I'm not defeated unless I tell myself I am.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
And I
that's
think
the other thing I had to learn how to do.
I think if you really have a desire, which I think Dolores was pointing out, like a real desire, it doesn't come from just a mental or a egotistical, like for instance, I want a fancy, I want a BMW, right?
Uh-huh.
And so if you want a BMW for other people's reasons, because I need to impress so and so, I need people to look at me in such a way, then that's just like a want. If you want a BMW because, hey, I feel valuable, I like the way I feel in a BMW, I like it's really connected to who I am. That is more from a soul perspective. So I think that's why it's connected to that.
It's a deeper place. It's more intense.
Yeah. And so the reason I'm saying that is because I feel like when you can tell and feel that difference and know that desire is coming from that place, then it's like it's a given that you're going to get it. If it's an inspired desire, then it is already yours. You just have to kind of go through the mechanisms of letting it come into reality. And so this goes speaking to the fact of belief, because
Right.
I tell my friends often, if you really feel that, God gave you that vision or that you are really inspired to do this, then the how and all that is going to manifest itself. Just have faith in it and continue to go forward with it.
I like the words that Napoleon Hill uses, because you were saying have a belief in your desire that it can happen. Mm-hmm. The way it's written here, it really struck me as true because it is the way I work. Mm-hmm. When I truly desire something so deeply and so keenly that it is an obsession, it will happen. Mm-hmm. I honestly have no difficulty convincing myself that I will acquire it or it will happen. Now, that's an intense level, and that is not applied to everything in my life, trust me, because that takes a lot of energy and a lot of focus.
And
Good morning, Ron.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Very well.
I don't know
so what was that,
on
Christian?
Here with my camera, but it's off.
Yeah.
Everybody's backward.
Everyone's having that. When someone else was talking about it, I'm like, what are they talking about? When I got on, I was like, yeah, this is weird.
I'll slide over this way then.
See, we can adjust. So what were you going to say, Christian?
Well, what I was saying was I feel like it kind of, the obsession part of it kind of develops naturally. Once you really be true to yourself and start expressing yourself, either in writing or in conversation, you'll notice, hey, I'm really passionate about this. I can't seem to let this idea go, and so I'm going to have to act on it, and that's what I was saying, that if you don't act on it, your life is just going to continue to be unpleasant for yourself.
Miserable. You're going to be miserable.
So it's like, okay, this is really ingrained in your spirit, and this is something that you're meant to really act on. So,
yes.
And that's that.
All of this is obsession. The assumption. This is all with the assumption you've already done part one, which is you've identified your chief aim, your definite purpose, that which you're going after.
Yes.
Okay.
Or at least your big why, or your big, because this is the reason. The only reason I'm clarifying that is because you may not, like if I share my chief aim with you, you may not seem specific enough to you to qualify for that, but it does for me. So I guess that.
No, this is all about me.
That's a yes. That's a yes. Christian. That's still a yes answer for you. No, I'm just thinking because some people.
This is my chief aim. It's not yours.
Right. So it
Meaning
does for
it's
me.
Your chief aim. It's not mine. It's. Yeah, that's what. So we've already decided in the first step that we've stated it out loud. This is what I desire. Be it a particular amount of money, be it what I look like at the end. When what does that look like? I've identified it. How badly do I want it? is it at the level of desire that I can put that emotion behind it? And I think that's where part of the why comes in. What you were talking about is part of the desire, not instead of. Let's ask Ron. Ron knows.
Well, my point, that the couple points I want to make. After you decide what you want, write it down, put it on a file card, carry it with you all the time, look at it several times a day.
It's one thing I haven't done.
Take pictures of what you want, post it on the mirror in the morning so you see it. But then I think more importantly is you have to have some mentors who know you and can help you and guide you when they see you getting off track.
Oh, yeah.
And the one other thing is sometimes there's people in your life who can drag you down in a negative way, and you have to know when to let go of those people because they're going to hold you back from getting what you desire.
Oh, you are so right, Ron. Actually, that was what I was going to shout out to Christy was when you said that, it suddenly dawned on me. I missed that part when I was trying to, because she had been involved in a partnership that dissolved in a business partnership. And as in mine, it was the second one. It was the other people. It's not working.
Yeah.
This isn't working.
And I definitely had that experience, Ron. I was doing a youth program in Boston, and I had a crazy girlfriend. And so it was just crazy, but I had to get ready to go and talk to these kids, be an inspiration, create a safe space, a healthy place for everyone to learn and grow together. And it was just like, but, you got this crazy girlfriend consciousness going on over here trying to, tell you all these crazy stories and stuff like that. And so what I had to do was focus. I said, well, what I'm doing right now, what I'm focusing on is way more important than my little relationship with this. It was a short term. We just got into a relationship. We were both in college. It was kind of like a fun thing for me, but it was becoming this, all this weirdness happening. And I was like, I can get caught up into this little story, or I can stick to this big story, which affects the lives of all these kids who are now looking at and taking this experience to form their self-identity. Which one is more important? Which one actually has the most weight for me, and of course it's the kids, and so that allowed me to, hey, just let that be, that. And I'm right now I'm sharing a moment in time with you. And so at that moment, I was like, okay, I don't know the solution to that, but I can't get all wrapped up into that. I have to stay focused on what's really important to me. And eventually the relationship slowly drifted away in a natural, safe way because she was trying to make her my world. And I had to let her know, hey, my world is a whole lot bigger than me and you in this relationship right now. And you either have to get into this world that I'm in or, we're not going to work out. Because I really I was not going to forsake those kids for the length of that program. I'm going to be there. I'm going to provide for them a safe, my focus is going to be on that, and I think
what you're describing, that desire is what compelled the commitment and what kept you committed. Regardless of what else came in, you were still committed because the desire was there, the emotional attachment to seeing it to completion or to showing up every day or to finish whatever that was, the desire was that what was backing your commitment.
Yeah, because I've been through that. I've been a teenager and I was in the Boy Scouts, and our troop leader, okay, he ended up being a crackhead and he had to disappear, and so that affected me for a long time, right? And so I recognized that, hey, once you get that position in a child's life, it's going to affect them, because that's the reason I designed the program that way, and that's the reason I decided to work with that age group, because I knew that at that point they were forming their identity. A lot of them didn't have positive male role models, and I knew I was going to play that role. And I said, I'm going to be that without fail. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna,
again,
I'm
you
not gonna be
committed to
seen out here in the
stepping
streets
into it.
doing anything crazy. Like a lot of my decisions were now changed what I'm going to do, where I'm going to do it at. We're all affected by the role I was now playing in their lives. Even my Facebook post, I'm not going to post any craziness. If you're posting craziness on my page, you got to get off of it. It's like there's all kind of decisions that were around that desire.
The other thing, Christian, you showed her what was important in your life and what should be important in her life too, maybe. And so you were should have been an inspiration to her. I don't know if she picked up on it or not, but that's you can only do so much, in that situation. But your goal and your passion was with those kids, and if you had to put her aside, you had to do that.
Well, that's just it. That's with anything that we strongly desire to achieve or to go for. That's why it's so important to be specific about that chief aim. It's not just that I want to be rich. It's not just that I want to build a program for kids. I want to build this kind of program.
Right.
I want the outcomes to be in this area. I want what the kids to be like, those that are going to participate. This is what it's for. And when that's that clear and you can have that desire behind it, is why you show up. You have that commitment and you show up.
Peace, love, and understanding, guys. I got to go.
Always, Ron. Thanks for dropping in. It was good to see you.
Thank
Do
you.
it again.
Good to see
Please
you.
do it again. Oh, good stuff. Anybody want to jump in? Got a few more minutes.
I guess Matt went to work. Matt normally jumps in. He's like, "But I got to go to work." Just like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Right.
And Christy had to go take care of her stuff. I've got the professional networking group that starts in 13 minutes. So I've got 3 or 4 minutes here of putting that desire behind. Once I was able to clearly define what that chief aim was, then I could tap into just how badly do I want this?
And
how
I think,
hefty is that, right?
Yeah, we really hit on something that I need to do again, which, I like the idea about the card. And where I have my thing written down, it's kind of like in a draft form. I mean, it's written, but I need to rewrite it, put it clearly and put it up on the wall, something I can see every day. And the other and repeat it every day. That really ingrains it into you. And the other piece that is missing from it, which I'm seeing now in this conversation, is who I'm serving with by achieving that. Because that's what kept me going with the youth program and the community organizing. It's like I know I'm impacting these people's lives by doing this. And that's just the way I am.
Well, and that's really important, Christian, because it hit me as well. That one of the reasons why I had difficulty figuring out really what it is I wanted to do, what it looked like, the chief aim, the ultimate, the definite purpose, whatever it is that I'm starting, be it a program or a product or the business or what have you. I had difficulty when it was just about me.
Right. Mm-hmm.
A lot of people tried to bring a desire up in me and that passion for something because this is what you want. You deserve it. This is what you should go after. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Because honestly, if there isn't that component of serving somebody else, that's why I love to train.
Yeah.
I can't tell you. I love to train and I love to facilitate groups of growth. And it's because whether I'm the one giving the skill or walking somebody through a new skill or a new technique, or I'm facilitating a group and they're, the peer support in a mastermind group, it's about them.
Yeah.
And I'm participating in somebody else's growth, which really, really lights my fire.
That's probably why we work so well together, because I just love to see that light. I love to see that light going on in their head or their soul light up. And it's like, wow, it's like, that's why I call it inspired, because it's not me putting anything into you. It's allowing you to tap into something
That's
inside
it.
of you, you know?
Even a new skill set. It is you are coming to me wanting to learn a new skill. All right. So for instance, some of the workshops that I've run is you want to learn how to blog.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's pretty broad, right? But when you come to me as a trainer, you are bringing your ideas, your existing experience, your knowledge, and your desire to share something in a blog. Okay. But you don't know how to do it. So I can provide you now with the skill of the how, but you're bringing everything else to it. So I get to see that in the people that I'm training. I get to see what they're excited about, not just blogging, you know, the other things that I train on. I can, again, just like
you're helping them realize their potential now that through your training, now that they can now see themselves, okay, now I am a blogger, or I do now have this skill that I was desiring.
Or it is one piece of a lot of other things that they're doing, but I have the privilege of being that one piece. Mm-hmm. And sometimes it's the piece that turns them around and gets them moving forward. And sometimes it's just the middle piece. Mm-hmm. You know, but and there's so much more that they're doing with other people out here, but I get to be a part of it. And the piece that I can offer is an important part of where they're moving forward. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's definitely satisfies the trainer in me. And you're right, having a component of serving others in some capacity in the other programs that I'm involved in, the one you and I are working together on, is all about we're growing because we're doing our own studying, but knowing the people that are going to be a part of the workshops, you know, I know that's part of what Light Your Fire as well, is they're going to get, some of them are going to get really excited because they learned something new that they can now take forward in the week. So yeah, you're right. I'm glad you brought that up.
They're going to be so it's like I just keep seeing it in the same way. You know, it's like just bringing this part of like, okay, I'm this banana. When I eat this banana, I'm going to, you know, it's going to give me energy. It's going to give me life. It's going to get me. It's going to allow a part of my expression to be brighter and lighter and to be free. A lot of times we're blocked by our own thoughts or our own limited understanding. And when you allow people to connect with a higher understanding of themselves on how the world works, like Napoleon Hill is talking about learning how to move in harmony with natural laws, right? And so, you know, that's why these principles work, because it's a part of the order of the universe and how things work. And when you're actually able to move in alignment with them, your life becomes so much easier, and you're so much easier to attain what you desire. So that's one of the fun parts about what we do and are doing together. And I'm really looking forward to it. And thank you, Cindy. I'm going to jump off. I know you got to end this pretty soon.
Got to end it now.
It's been a great discussion, Charlene.
It has. Thank you for being on here. It's a pleasure having you with me. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to close down the recording and then join me. There's the join link. If you are a professional in business and want to network, increase your network with those who are global from the comfort of your own home or your own little office, then join us for business networking in a few minutes. Thank you for joining me in the live stream. Thank you for those in the discussion area in the comment section. Thank you for those watching the replay. This is Charlene Burke with Grow Because You Know. That's www.growbecauseyouknow.com. Let's move forward with the day on purpose, with purpose, to grow our hearts, grow our minds, and grow our businesses. Until next time, have a great day.